So on Friday we talked about something new. We talked about navigation and surveying. I'm going to review what we did on Friday so it'll help you with your homework. So the first thing we talked about was the word navigation. We'll get back to surveying later. So navigation is the course of a ship or a plane is an angle measured clockwise, I'm going to abbreviate it, from due north, which is now 0 degrees. So when I ask you to draw a compass, this is what your compass will look like. It's going to have a north, east, south, and west. It's going to be just a little cross like that. We're going to say that the north is 0 degrees, and we're going to say that east will be our 90 degrees, and we're going to continue clockwise around. South will be 180 degrees, and west will be 270 degrees. So again, unit circle's gone. North is 0, east is 90, south is 180, and to the west is 270. The first example we looked at, they wanted to know the direction of northeast has the course of question mark. In order to answer the question, the first thing we talked about doing was drawing a compass. So there's our compass. Northeast is going to be in the top right, smack in the middle. And when they ask you for a course, they're asking from the angle from the north. So they want to know what would be this measure angle in this wedge right here. So if this is 0 and east is 90, and this is halfway in the middle, half of 90 is 45 degrees. So the course of northeast is 45 degrees. The next thing they asked me about on number 2 was the direction course for southwest. So southwest means I'm going to be at the bottom of my compass, and the west is over here to the left. So again, I'm going to measure from the north. I want this entire swish. So I know from 0 to the east is 90, and I know all the way to the south is a total of 180, and I know half of this quadrant is 45. So I've got 90 plus 90 is 180, and 180 plus 45 gives me 225 degrees. So when they ask you for this course, they're asking for what is the angle from the north. Remember, every quadrant is 90. So 0 to the east is 90. From the east to the south is 90 plus 90 is 180. And then I halved it to go southwest. So we said 90 plus 90 is 180 plus 45 is 225. The next thing we talked about in class was something called a compass bearing. Angles from one location to another is measured from due north. From angle A to B, the bearing is 60 degrees. And in class, I told you that this 60 was in the wrong spot. So cross this out and put it over here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And the bearing is 60 degrees of B from A, because if I go put my pencil on the north of A, which is where they asked me to start, and I swish to the line, I get 60 degrees. So they want the bearing from A to B. From A means I start at A, I swish from the north until I hit the line, and that gives me 60 degrees. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do example 3. Example 3 wants me to find the bearing from B to A. So this time they want me to start at B and swish till I hit the line. So I come up here to the B, the north pole of B, and I'm going to swish all the way until I hit this line. And I want to know, what is this angle measure? Well, in order to know this total angle measure, I have to remember something from geometry. I have to remember that alternate interior angles are congruent. So if this little wedge right here is 60, that means this is the alternate interior angle right there. That wedge is also 60, just that little piece right there. That's 60. So I know 90 in quadrant 1, and then down here is another 90, so 90 plus 90 is 180, plus that 60. So I've got 180 plus that alternate interior angle that's 60, and that's going to add up to 240 degrees. So the bearing from B to A is 240 degrees. Again, when you're doing a bearing, you go from the north And you swish around until you hit the line. And they'll always tell you where to start. They said from B, so I started at B. Okay, so let's go do it one more time. Example 4. On example 4, they don't give you a picture to start with. You have to draw your own picture. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the bearing from A to B so that it's 110 degrees. So I'm going to go draw a compass for A. I'll label it A. And I know that 110 degrees is going to be somewhere at the bottom down here. And I know it's going to be down there because I know that this little piece is 90. And then I know if I go a little bit more, in fact 20 degrees more, I get 110 because 90 plus 20 is 110. And then I'm going to draw my second compass and I'm going to label this B because it said from A to B was 110 degrees. Okay, so that's the first thing I did. Now they want me to find the bearing from B to A. So now they want me to start at the B, and I'm going to swish all the way around until I hit the line. Okay, so let's go look at all these pieces. I know this little piece is 90. And if I go all the way to the south, that's a total of 180, because 90 plus 90 is 180, plus another 90 gives me 270. And then I know alternate interior angles are congruent, so I know this little wedge right here is 20. So 90 plus 90 is 180, plus 90 more is 270, and 270 plus 20, the answer is 290 degrees. Alright, so now that we have a better understanding of a compass and our degrees and our compass bearings, let's go try a word problem. Now on your test, you're going to have 3 or 4 word problems, so it's really important that you learn how to draw these. The first problem says, a ship proceeds on a course of 300 degrees for 2 hours at a speed of 15 knots. The ship then changes course to a bearing of 230 degrees, continuing at 15 knots for 3 more hours. At that time, how far is the ship from its starting point? Alright, so the first thing we got there, we got a ship that's on a course of 300 degrees for 2 hours. So I know 300 degrees is going to put me up here in the top left. So I'm going to start my ship down here at the bottom of my paper. And I know I'm going to have something that looks like that. Because I know that 300 degrees, 90 plus 90 is 180. 180 plus 90 is 270. So I know 300 degrees is going to be somewhere in the top left. So if this piece right here is 270 all the way to here, how much more do I need to get to 300? Well, I need 30 more degrees. So I know that little wedge right there is 30 degrees. 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 30 gives me 300. Alright, so we know that it's going to go in this direction for 2 hours at a speed of 15 knots. So if I want to know the distance, I have to multiply the 2 times the 15, so I know this line is going to be 30 nautical miles long. And then I'm going to keep reading. It says the ship then changes course. And when you see the phrase changes course, what you're going to do is you're going to draw a new compass. So I'm going to draw a new compass. And it says I'm going to change course to a bearing of 230 degrees. Well, I know 230 degrees is going to be in the bottom left quadrant. 90 plus 90 is 180. Plus, how much more is going to give me 230? So if you need your calculator, use your calculator. Again, I want 230 degrees. And I've already gone, that's not very good, try that, 230 degrees, and I've already gone 180. So what's left is 50. So I need this little piece in here to be 50 more. So 90 plus 90 is 180. Plus 50 more will give me that 230. And I'm going to travel on this line at 15 knots, but this time I'm going to go 3 hours. So that means my line is going to be a little bit longer. So I'm going the same speed, but I'm going for longer. So I'm going to take 3 times 15 and get 45 miles. Okay, so what they want to know is they want to know, when I've gone this distance, how far am I from where I started? They want to know what's x. So if I know 2 sides and an angle in the middle, a side, angle, side, I can use law of cosines. Before I can go use law of cosines, I have to figure out what this total angle is in here. I know this little piece is 50. I need to find this little piece. So because I know alternate interior angles, I know that this piece out here is 30. And if this little piece is 30, I know this inside has to be 60. And I know that because 30 plus 60 will give me 90. Okay, so that was kind of hard to read. Let me try that again. Make that 60 look a little better. So then I've got 50. That still doesn't look good. I know this piece in here is 60. There we go. So 50 plus 60 tells me this whole angle in here is 110. So now I can use my law of cosines. And law of cosines says the side squared that I'm looking for is equal to the sides that I know, the sum of their squares, minus 2 times their product, times cosine of the angle in the middle. So when you go type this in your calculator, remember that you need to be in the correct mode. Everything that has to do with triangles is in degree mode. So I'm going to be in degree mode. I'm going to go type in exactly what we wrote down, 45 squared plus 30 squared minus 2 times those same two numbers, 45 times 30, times cosine of the angle that was between them, which was 110. And we get this number here, and a lot of y'all want to write that number down. That's what I noticed on your assessment. Remember, this is the equation for the side squared. I have to go take the square root, and y'all keep forgetting to do that. So the answer is 62.0, I'm going to round that up, 4. X is equal to 62.04 miles. That's how far the ship is now from where it started. All right, so that was the first word problem we did. Let's go look at the next one. The next one we have is about a sailboat. A sailboat leaves its dock and proceeds east for 2 miles. It then changes course to 205 degrees until it's due south of its dock. How far is this from where it started? Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to know that we're drawing a sailboat going to the right because it's going east. So I'm going to draw it up top, left, and my sailboat is going to go east, which means I just went 90 degrees for 2 miles. So the distance from here to wherever I decide to stop is 2 miles. It says it changes course. And earlier I said when you see the phrase change course, you draw a new compass. So here's my new compass. And we're going to go 205 degrees. So 90 plus 90 is 180, plus a little bit more is going to give me 205. So I know I'm going to go this direction. The key is to figure out how much more. So remember, I already went 180, and I want to go 205. So I'm going to subtract the 2. So 205 minus 180 tells me that inside piece is 25. And then I have to decide how long to draw this line. I'm going to draw this line until I'm due south of the dock. So here's the dock. So I have to go draw this line until I'm right below where I started. They don't tell me how long it is. I just know I have to do it until I'm due south. So again, because it's due south, I know this right here is a right angle. This is 25 degrees. So I know alternate interior angles. This is also 25 degrees. I know I have a triangle here. So I know I could add these two up and subtract it from 180 to find this missing piece. So 25 plus 90. And if I subtract those from 180, I get 65. Now let's see, what do they want to know? How far south is this? So they don't want to know this distance. They want to know how far south I am. They want this distance here. And you can do this a couple of ways. You can do law of sines, or you can use SOHCAHTOA. I'll do it both ways so you can see both. I prefer to use SOHCAHTOA. So if I were going to do this, I would use this angle here. You can use whatever angle you want. And I'm going to know that this is the opposite and this is the adjacent to 65. So tangent, opposite over adjacent is tangent of 65 equals the opposite over the adjacent. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And then I'm going to go type that in my calculator because x is by itself. So in your calculator, remember we're in degree mode, we're going to type in 2 times tangent of 65 and I get 4.2, I'm going to round it up, 4.29. So x equals 4.29. Okay, let's say you absolutely hate using SOHCAHTOA. Then your second choice would be to do law of sines. To do law of sines, you need to have at least one side and an angle opposite, which I have right here. So I'm going to say sine of 25 degrees over the side opposite is 2. And I'm looking for this side here, so I need the angle opposite. So sine of 65 over x. We're going to circle the numbers that are diagonal, so I have to circle these two because x is not a number. I'm going to multiply these two, and then I'm going to divide by the one I didn't circle. So in my calculator, I'm going to have 2 times sine of 65, and I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to divide that by sine of 25. And I got the exact same answer, 4.2, I'm going to round that up, 4.29. So again, you choose the method you like best. No matter which method I chose, I got the same answer. The last thing we're going to talk about is the word surveying. So everything we've done so far has been navigation. And remember, navigation is your distance from the north, the course degrees, all the way to where you want to be. Surveying does it a little bit differently. When you're doing something in surveying, a compass reading is given as an acute angle, meaning less than 90, from the north line to the east-west line. Okay, so this first example, this angle is going up, so I know it's a north. It's going to the right, so I know it's east, and then I want to know what is the measurement from that north, whatever you started with, and the measurement is 40 degrees. Okay, let's go try it again. So again, we're on the top half of the compass, so I know it's north. This time I went to the left, so I know it's west. And then I want to know the angle from whatever this first pole is, which is the north. What is the angle from the north? It's 50 degrees. Okay? So then we tried it 2 more times. This one right here is at the south, and it's going left, so it's west. And this time I want the angle from the south pole. And the angle from the south pole tells me it's 30 degrees. The last one, this is going south. It's going to the right, so it's east. And a lot of y'all were tempted to tell me 30. 30 degrees is the distance to the east. Remember, I always want to take it from the north or the south, whichever one I wrote first. I wrote south, so I want this angle here. Well, remember, I know every one of these little quadrants is 90. So 90 take away 30. So the distance to the south pole is 60 degrees. Okay, so that's a review of our notes. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video, and now I'm going to make one about the homework.